Alright, so here's another exciting tutorial, and I'm sure you guys want to animate your menus like this. So to do that, we are gonna start looking at some code. So to start, first thing we need to do is import the BrowserAnimations module in our root module, and here you can import the browser animation module. So we'll add our semicolon, and once you have done that, then what you have to do is also add it to the imports. Right, so that's step number one. So I think we don't need this anymore. So the second thing that you want to do is you want to go to the menu.component.ts. so what I can say is import, and I'm going to add trigger, right? So trigger is basically what triggers the animation. Style is what kind of style you're going to apply to it. That's your CSS. And then the state is what different states going to go between. So open, close for our menu. And then the transition is where you actually define the state. And animate is the animation. That's what we're going to define. So to add it, you're going to add a property to the component metadata, and it's called convenient animations. So what I can do then is say trigger. So that's my start defining my trigger, and my trigger is, you can name it whatever you want, but I'll just call it menu toggle. And then what's going to happen when this trigger happens? Well, you define another array, and then this is where you define your states. So open state, what style I want to apply? Well, I want to say that transform, you just give it an object. I want to do a transform, and I want to do translate x 0, meaning stay where you are. And then the other state is close, and then what style I want to apply? I want to say transform translate x, and I'll just say go back 150%, so that it's hidden from the user. So that's that. And then what we need to do is now we need to define the transition. So the transition, basically what I'm saying is from open to close and from close to open. So it's like a back and forth kind of thing. So that transition, animate this transition for us. And how do you want to animate it? You want to animate it over 0.2 seconds, and you want to give it a delay of 0.1 second, and we will just say ease out, right? So that'll take care of that. We'll just add this comma. So let's just see if any errors. New. So now we need to track this the menu state, right? If it's open or close. And what we can do is just define a property, and initially I'm just going to say false, meaning menu is closed. So when somebody visits your site, the menu will be closed. And then we have this button. So when this button is clicked, we want to actually call a function that is going to toggle the menu for us. So that's why I will just call it toggle menu. And what this is going to do, all this is going to do is we say this dot is open equal to not this dot is open. It's just going to flip flop. That's all it's doing. So we'll just say flip flop, right? So now once you have defined this trigger, so you're just going to go to your view, and I have this button here, which is this button, and I'll just bring over to the next line so we can start adding our stuff here. So what I'm saying here is when this button is clicked, what you want to do, you want to just call toggle menu. That's all we're saying. So when this button is clicked, you toggle the menu. So when I click it, nothing happens. And why is that? There's no error. Well, because we need to then animate this or affect this menu, I should say. And the way you do it is you use this directive which is called menu toggle, right? And this name, this is the same name that we used here, so it's this one. And then I'll say that when is open, right, when is open is true, which is this one property. When is open is true, then you go into the open state, otherwise you stay in the closed state. That's all we're saying. So I'm going to save it, and as you can see, the menu is hidden, and that's because if you remember, we said false. So initial state is false and this is false. So now if I hit it, the menu slides from the left. When I hit it again, it goes back. So what's happening is, when initially you load the page, this is false. When this is false, then this is false. If this is false, then close state is gonna take over. And then here we're saying that in closed state, translate x is negative 150%. That's why the menu is just hidden somewhere there. Then when you hit this button, what this does is call this method, and this toggles the is open from false to true. When this is true, then this becomes true, and then it says, oh, go in the open state. Then in the open state, basically what we're saying, go back to where you were. And then this happens with this animation or animate property. So as you can see, I can close, open nicely. I think that'll be it for now.